Okay, so we're going to try it again. And this time I changed the art just in case that makes a difference. But we were talking about twin flames and pain, and I'm going to start from all over. I'm going to start all over again, unfortunately. So I'm going to wait till people come. I'm going to start all over again. Unfortunately. So I'm going to wait till people come. I'm going to start all over again. Let's see who's coming in. So let me know if it's still glitching. If it is, I'm going to call it a day. Hi, love and light. Okay. So I'm going to wait until people jump on. I'm going to start all over again. And we're going to be talking about the twin flame pain because that would have been very unpleasant to have a glitch and skip and this and that. So I'm hoping this is better. I have a full bar on Wi-Fi, so I don't understand. How do I sound, love, light, spirit? Can you tell me how I sound? Because if I'm still glitching, then I need to, yeah. All right, so we're talking about the twin flame separation. We just did a live a few minutes ago, like literally seconds ago, and it was glitching again and again. Okay, you can hear me well. Okay, beautiful. I really appreciate you for saying that. Okay, so we were talking about the twin flame separation, okay? And I'm going to try to recapture what I originally said. All right, so what we were talking about, and I was connecting the twin flame pain of separation, ghosting, and so forth back to, again, an analogy I use quite often, which is giving birth, right? So when a woman gives birth, she knows that she is in pain for a reason. She's birthing a soul, a life, okay? And what I need you to understand if you're in a twin flame separation is that the separation happening between you and your twin is actually important. I've kind of dipped into multiple ways of explaining it over the course of like almost 3 years now. And I was talking to you, when I first began talking to you, I was in separation with my twin, and then I came into union with my twin on the phone, this and that and the other, and then we came into union physically. But my point is to you, is that there was a dark night of the soul that was the ultimate dark night of the soul. One of the things that many of you will experience is the ultimate dark night of the soul, where you almost can't make it. And I was saying, okay, that one of the issues of pain is that many of you in the millennial Gen Xers community have never been allowed to roll in your pain when you were babies, when you were children, because your parents would use a pad or a phone or something to distract you from your ennui, malaise, what a melancholy, whatever. You were always being distracted instead of being taught how to self-regulate in a way that really would help you, right? And so I talked about Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. And this is important, okay? In The Untethered Soul, there's I forgot the chapter, but it's about a blue Mustang. It's the chapter that has the blue Mustang, and I'll explain in a minute what I mean. And this will illustrate people who don't handle pain, which, that happens, where we totally ignore the pain because it's not comfortable to be in pain, and we feel as if we can't do this. It's like a Pandora's box. What's going to come out and when will it end? Okay, so in the Blue Mustang, here's the story, paraphrasing the story from Michael Singer from the book Untethered Soul, okay? In it, there's the man who's in love with his girlfriend, and she has a 1969 Blue Mustang. And he connects her to that car, of course, and they have a long relationship and blah, blah, blah. And one day he sees her in that car with another man, and it turns out she's cheating on him. It turns out it's an explosive ending, and that's the end of that. So now 7 years later, he's married. He's got 2 kids. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. with his children, his wife. He's having such a great day. And suddenly over the hill comes a 1969 Blue Mustang, and everything he thought he had been past slams him hard. And he cannot regulate himself. He's a fucking mess. His day is ruined. Because the visual implication of that Mustang brought all these somatic pain body, these recessed pains that he had not dealt with. Why did you cheat on me? Who was it? How did you meet? All these questions that Esther Perel talks about that, in her book, Mating in Captivity, comes through, right? And so the pain hits him. And he can't get it together. Okay? So the next thing Michael Singer talks about is that pain. You have to sit in it. And I had to go through that. When I went through the dark night of the soul, I had to roll in it. And yeah, you might actually physically go into a fetal position. You may and should allow yourself to howl as if you just got a phone call that someone died. Let it fucking rip. I'm not joking. And he said, and I think it's perfect, it's a perfect analogy, it's like the sun being covered over by clouds. You can all relate to that. You're nice and warm sunbathing, and suddenly there's a big cloud that comes over, and it's a little gray, right, or dark. And you're like, God, I hope the wind blows it over. Well, eventually it does, right? And he says, you have to let those feelings pass across the sun and roll with it. Witness it, which Thich Nhat Hanh talks about in his book, Anger, and his book about fear, is roll with it, watch it, witness it, be in it. Don't distract yourself with bullshit. Don't do a Netflix thing. Don't walk around pacing. Don't take that drink. Don't smoke that joint. Fill yourself with that pain. Watch it, witness it, give it sacred space. Similarly to what a parent should do with a child having a meltdown at the age of 2. You don't just give him a pad, a suckle, or this, or candy, or chocolate. You go, baby, right here. I'm right here. You're cross-legged. You're watching your child. And you're saying, I'm right here. Go through your feelings. It's okay. And then eventually they can come into your arms and cuddle with you, right? And in a sense, that's what you need to learn how to do. Because the pain of a twin flame is unfucking matched. Many people will say to me, when they come to me, right? My mother died. My father died. I took care of my mother. And I was sad. I went through a depression. But this is far worse. And they feel guilt. And the only way I can explain to you why the pain feels worse is because your parent might have been a soulmate tribe member, maybe. And maybe you had, incarnations where they were your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, a soldier, whatever, right? But you and your twin were made millions of years ago, and you have had many incarnations. And part of the pain that you're actually dropping right now in the 21st century is all the pain body, all the memories, all the soul samskar shit from thousands of years ago. And I was giving you the analogy of Shakespeare in Love. Now, we know it's a little story, but it's the story of, you remember she falls in love with Shakespeare, they have an amazing 5 weeks, and now it's time for her to get married and go to America and blah, blah, blah. And she chooses to follow her parents' will. Now, no matter what you think, that was your story. In many incarnations, when your twin would come into your life, you would choose to marry the farmer's son because there would be more land and cows. You would choose to do X, Y, and Z, but sometimes, and this is why I gave you the show Spartacus, the actual show, the beginning of the show, where they are, I forgot the tribe name, but they are in love. They love each other. Everything's good. Life is so beautiful. And boom, there comes the Romans coming in with their bullshit because they want more land and they're enslaved and separated. That also was happening. So not only were you and your twin, when you were incarnated together, dealing with, right, love and union and this and that, and it lasted maybe 4 years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years, maybe you even had kids, right? And then suddenly they came over the fucking hill, a battle, a war, a conqueror, okay? And that would fuck everything. You were done. Like, and you might have survived your twin. You might, or your twin survived you, or the worst, separation into slavery. And this was common. This was really common. Or you did what you were told. You could not marry. Maybe your twin was a stable boy, 18th century, 1820, and you were a noble woman, or vice versa. You could not marry. The fuckery of our infrastructures can never be ignored. And it has created separations for millennia. Okay? The last time we were sovereign, in full sovereignty of ourselves, that is in recorded soul memory, Akashic recorded soul memory, right? All of us, many of us, was when Atlantis was going through the golden age. That was the last time we could fucking do whatever the fuck we wanted to do and be in union, and there was no bullshit, and we weren't twin flames then, we were twin rays. Flame is burning karma. Ray is in your light. So we fell from being rays to flames, number one. And we're burning karma. Okay, I'm trying to remember some of the shit I was saying in the last live that was glitching. Does that make sense? Thank you for your love. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Any questions? So one of the things, by the way, I am going to pitch it. I'm on Patreon on September 6th. We're going to have our first Twin Flame group meeting on Zoom. It's $9.99 per month, and we meet four times a month. And it's where we get more in the weeds about the Twin Flame journey. And I made it approachable and affordable as a support, okay? But also to exchange energy. Okay, so just thought I'd bring that up. Hang on, I'm trying to remember. So when you're going through the pain of separation, where they're ghosting you, meaning they're not replying to you, it's either unread or it's read and no response, and it goes on for weeks, and you're fucking turning on yourself like a dog, just pacing the cage. And not wanting to look like you're begging, not wanting to fucking keep calling, not wanting to reach out. I mean, you don't want to be humiliated. You don't want to be a welcome mat. All of that is going on with you. And meanwhile, you're listening to coaches saying, oh, yeah, don't do anything. Then you've got cord cutting ceremonies, people telling you they'll cord cut this. The other people saying for $1,000, $500, I will... remove the curse that separates you and your twin. It's not a curse. It's some scars. It's past life. It's not, there's no curse. In fact, there's no curse, period. Okay, there's no curse. This is not Lady Hawk, okay? We're not living that story. So, the pain, okay, is literally something you have to sit through. I'm not kidding. It's not something you can avoid. Eventually, it will hit you, okay? And there's nothing to be ashamed of. You're not here to prove to anyone that you're a twin, that you're not a twin flame, that you're. I hate the word limerence. That you're in limerence. I'm going to use the proper word. You're obsessed. You need to stop this obsession. This is not normal. It's not healthy. There's plenty of fish in the sea. You're not here to prove anybody anything. You're not. What you're here to do is to excavate exactly why you're in separation. Now, if you're honest, brutally honest, not only will you go through the pain of the separation, but in addition to that, you'll realize as you walk into your empowerment, it's almost, they're actually showing me a woman nude, going to a pool of crystalline water with ascension light codes, and she literally walks down this small tip into this pool, douse, and like literally sinks into the water underneath, and her hair is covered over by water and so forth. And then she comes out the other side, and I'm seeing her back. I'm seeing her nude walking out of it, and she's glistening in golden frequency coming out the other side, and she's been upgraded. And your twin hasn't. Your twin is still in rags of 3D. Your twin is in chains. I'm actually seeing it as I'm saying. I'm giving you an image. I'm seeing your twin chained to a wall, in rags, dirty, a long beard, nasty, and you're not a match. And I see the image of your twin waking up and realizing that all of this illusion is his own mind accepting the illusion of the infrastructure of being imprisoned. Really, it's in his mind, and suddenly it all disappears. It literally fades away. And then I see him in his glory, standing in his light, in beautiful. Again, he's nude and he's walking into the water. And he's also going through the ascension upgrades. And he's walking out the other side nude and he's meeting you. But what's happening, though, is that as long as he's chained to that wall, and you are actually going through the process of purging the pains of all these incarnations when you were not allowed to be in union, or when your union was disrupted suddenly by something outside of your control, your environment. This is why I keep telling you guys, the infrastructure, even today, isn't kind to twins at all. It's not kind to anyone, much less twins. And so you have people who, like, there's an agenda in the infrastructure, because we must be dangerous when we're in union, because why in the fuck would they have put Twin Flame Universe on two separate fucking channels, Amazon Prime in 2023 and Netflix? Why would they have put them up on a pedestal of being the jokesters, the bastards in the twin flame community, kind of promoting the fact that people who claim they're twin flames are insane? It's a cult. You're fucking crazy. That kind of thing. Why? Because apparently when we reclaim the template, and the best example, because you might not believe in what I believe in, but my template to you would be Yeshua and Mary Magdalena. I have others, by the way, but I'll use that one because it's a template that most Westerners can relate to, who are waking up to the lies about how Mary Magdalene was bastardized. Let's be honest. Demonized, bastardized, and buried alive. So as she rises from that injustice, right, the Western mind can appreciate, oh yeah, oh yes. And they weren't twin flames, they were twin rays, they were of the light, but their environment, right, what surrounded them, fucked them, right? Whether or not he went to France with her and they had many children, or she got pregnant before he died and went on a ship with, her group, her retinue of people who protected her because she was dangerous, okay, to the Romans and to these, I'm going to call them Zionist sect, because I don't think Zionism is brand new. I think it's been going on for a while. They call it Talmudic rabbis, okay? Anyway, it was dangerous for her to have this baby. And why am I saying okay, let me back up. The environment precluded them from having a fulfilled union. You might say, well, they don't need it because they're going to go to heaven and all of that crap. Don't complicate shit with me, okay? They didn't have it in earthly life, okay? They did their mission. They made love multiple times, tantric lovemaking. She healed them from what she had been taught through the Isis priestess temples, what he had also taught her. And he came back to life 3 days later, whatever you want to believe, and maybe made love to her again. Maybe even was able to travel from Egypt to Europe or whatever the hell they did. I don't know, right? No, let's be honest, okay? Holy Blood, Holy Grail is one of the books that unfortunately promoted this concept that the bloodline went into the French kings, which is an absolute fucking joke, okay? So anyway, another time for that story. But what I want to talk to you about is, here's your template. Here's the most famous template that I can give to you for you to realize how the infrastructure completely decimated their ability to be in union, to be happy, to live a long, fulfilling, rich life, undisturbed by the infrastructure. So now you understand that when you go into separation with your twin in the 21st century, with what you know in ways that you never knew 500 years ago, 100 years ago, you didn't know this shit, but you do now. And so now your soul is going through the mass purge. So when you're in separation with your twin, you're going through a tsunami after another, hitting you with the huge emotions that you can't even articulate to yourself. You can't even journal. It doesn't, it's like there are no words, none, to do what you're feeling any justice. And you want this fucking pain to end. And some people don't survive themselves. I'm sure I'm clear. So going back to the ascension is when you do survive yourself, when you allow this pain to rip through you, right? And sometimes you may have to take a joint or a drink or a bottle. I don't know. I'm just being honest with you, okay? But whatever you do, don't lobotomize this energy for too long. Don't start taking happy pills to lobotomize the feelings. I'm not joking. Because what you have to do, which Michael Singer talks about in The Untethered Soul, and the only word that keeps coming up for me is you get inoculated. Meaning eventually you walk out of this pain, and you will. Trust me, I did. And you get transformed, and you become transcendental, and you realize with a huge truth in your heart that you are a multi-dimensional light being, and that in this life or the next you surrender, and that you know that you're never, and you know, like your last breath, like your first breath, like every incarnation that culminates through your soul's memory. And you know, though you can't articulate those incarnations specifically, but you know the breadth and width and the expansive infinite truth that you're never in separation with your twin. This is something that becomes real to you in a real way once you've gone through that initial dark night of the soul, the one that almost takes you out. Once you can survive that one, I'm not saying you won't have melancholy afterwards. I'm not saying when your twin dies, you're not going to cry and feel the jagged truth of not smelling them and hearing the nectar of their voice or their touch. But you will never, ever go through that kind of dark night of the soul ever again. Never. Because something happened in those months or that year or two that you rolled with it to such a power that you actually became transcendental. I kid you not. You will never feel that. Even when they die, you will feel the grief, but it will never take you out like this. It is the most incredible, magical power that I wish you gave yourself sacred rights to go through it and to honor it as a high priest or high priestess. I can't give you the nectar, the cup to remove this pain, because in this case, this is a very pain that is going to bring you to another level of consciousness and trust in divine timing and trust in divine wisdom. That your monkey mind is constantly clashing against your soul, right? Constantly shutting down those doors of amazing self-realized moments, like aha moments. But aha moment doesn't even touch what the full expansiveness of what that means, because it's so, sometimes you'll sit there going, my God, I got it. Holy shit. And then suddenly images just rush through you in upgrading your consciousness. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? And this is something that, thank you, my love. You're always the one. Thank you, my love. So this is what you need to be willing to understand. Now, one of the things I talked about going on, they fear your light. It's not that they fear your light, okay? It's not that, okay? But though I think that's something that is said a lot, and that's not it. They fear, okay, and that they will never be what you deserve them to be. Okay, now, but let me go on. Your presence in a room in silence, your presence demands their soul to rise. Just you don't have to say a fucking word. And this is something that they may not be able to articulate, but in their minds, right, the monkey mind, they feel as if they can never go where they need to be. Because didn't I just describe all of that dark night of the soul? Didn't I just go through that? Okay. Imagine for them to grow up, spiritually speaking, they have to open the Pandora's box that has hidden all of the pains of all of these incarnations, where some of the time they did fail you. They did marry a woman they were told to marry because of profit and breeding and name. They did leave you behind when they should have been there for you, when they should have just said, grabbed your hand and said, let's go, fuck this 17th century Castilian Spain. Let's go to the Americas. Let's make up new names. Let's create new identities. Fuck all of this, right? And some people did do that. Some people literally did go. I mean, think of it, 17th century, your father's telling you, and some people did do that. Some people literally did go. I mean, think of it, 17th century, your father's telling you to marry. I know how to read, I know how to write. Let's go to Switzerland. Fuck it. Let's just go. Yeah, I want to marry you. I want to have children with you. I don't give a fuck what my father said. But most people always caved to their family. This is why what's interesting about the twin flame, which actually I'm going to jump right into, is how often twin flames have a common barrier. But it's not so common. So I'll give you an example. Age difference. A twin is 15 to 20 years younger. A twin flame is a different race. One is black, one is white, one's biracial, one's this. I mean, you get the picture. Different religions. One is Muslim, one is Jewish. I kid you not, and it's done purposely. Why? Well, because the souls need to have a barrier. The souls need to say, you know what? I never thought I'd be in this position, falling in love, head over in love with someone who isn't on paper what I need them to be. In the 21st century, by the way, in the 21st century, where you have, and you have every choice at your feet. You can marry whoever the fuck you want, whenever you want. And yet, there's this invisible net of limitations based on things like, well, my father's, my mother, my parents are old-fashioned, or they're traditional. Catering and bowing down. I'm sorry, traditional? What does traditional really mean? What do you mean traditional? You mean racist. You mean a prejudice against a Muslim and a Jewish woman marrying, which, by the way, on the side note, that was happening back in Palestine before it was taken over, just so you know. That was not unusual. But my point is, what are we doing here in the 21st century? And some of the things that will also happen is a gay person falling in love with same sex and going, what the fuck? I love women. I remember I had a client who actually was a straight male, married 21 years, loved women, loved their breasts, their bodies, loved women, okay? And went crazy over a younger man. He couldn't, but it was a twin flame. Now, you would say, well, that's not possible. No, it is possible. That's the whole point. The whole point is saying you have betrayed each other time and time again. You have chosen the easy way and lived in solitude and pain, having children with people you didn't even love, to cater to what society wanted you to do, to cater to your family lineage. That was clearly temporary, because here you are. You're not Italian anymore, are you? You're not from a Castilian family, are you? You're not from an African royal family, are you? No. So there you go. It was temporary. It was an illusion. So when a man and a woman who are Jewish and Muslim want to marry, it's temporary, isn't it? This thing that we hold on to, called a religion, for example, or a race, for example, or a gender, for example. Isn't that interesting? And so what it does is it is a complete revolution within its own soul. The soul is being asked, what is important to you? And it's the monkey mind that's been trained by this machine called this infrastructure, this particular society, whatever the society is, Western society, in this case, because I'm talking to most of you who are in the West, this challenge was actually part of your contract. But there are multiple nuances to society. What's the one thing they've taught men to do that is against the actual divine masculine's freedom to be healthy in his masculinity? What is it? Money. Going after as much money as possible. That a man's value is his money and that a woman's value is her beauty. That is some old, disgusting templates. And they're actually dissolving. And when you look at what I just said and you say, well, no, actually, Tony, that's not true, because I see a lot of women who want the money and a lot of men that want the money. And no, I'm talking about in 5D, that's a dissolving. That's not a template that is going to walk into 5D New Earth. That's not a match. A match is war, greed, money, having as much as you can. And even then, it's not enough. So you may, and this is so funny where women fall in love with, there was a show once, I forgot what it was called, and this very rich woman ended up falling in love with a guy who was homeless. He was hot as fuck, but so was she. And she could have done better, meaning a guy with money, and they fell in love. And it didn't last long because I don't think people could understand it, because it promoted something that was very outside the norm in our society. So when you go through the separation, let's go back to the separation, the pain of the separation, because that's really the subject, is you're going through the pain, not just of this incarnation, but that's my point, many. That's why when someone dies and it hurts, it'll never hurt as much as a twin flame dark night of the soul. Never. And you'll feel like shit. You'll go, what's wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why am I in such pain? And it's because you've dealt with the betrayal of separations. Sometimes the betrayal was from, like I said, the environment. Like, again, if you watch the opening scene of the show Spartacus, when Spartacus they're so happy together. They have a very good life. And they're separated because the Romans have come. And his whole raison d'etre is to find her. That's the entire show, to find her. If you watch the movie Gladiator, I want to bring you back to past lives, because you had those past lives with your twin. When you look at Gladiator, clearly they don't talk about twin flames, but they do talk about this great general who loves his wife and son. And if you remember the movie, he's riding two horses. The horses collapse, and he's doing everything he can to get to his family before the Romans betray him and get to his family, and he's too late. And the whole theme is the wheat field in his hand and his wife and son looking at him. His whole journey is about getting to them. Getting to his beloved wife, his twin. You could say twin, because that kind of, should we call that limerence? Should we call that obsession? Shall we? Shall we bastardize these incredible scenes with these weird, shaming terms that the 21st century has decided to bestow on twin flames, for example, or twin souls? It's absurd. And yet, it is common. And so one of the things that I was trying to say in the last live that was glitching like fuck is that you'll have, and when you're in pain, you'll go, and you shouldn't. You will go to people who will say it's a curse. You will go to people who will say, I will remove this curse between you and your twin. And you'll pay them money, lots and lots of money. It's not a curse. It's a journey. It's a process. It's an excavation. It's literally ripping away these old, shaming, reverberating images, and in some case, just energetic fields that are harming you and your twin remotely. It's still remotely harming you, but it is not a curse. It is an unseen, allowed. You're not allowing your somatic body to release, because sometimes you will not get downloads, you will not get images, you'll just get the body ripping through it. It'll feel like you're going through a fucking withdrawal. That's what I'm being told to tell you. It'll feel like a withdrawal. And for you to win, because I know you want to win or else you wouldn't be here listening. For you to win, you have to sit through it. So you need to read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. You need to perhaps watch some of these movies. I know my book, Recall, when people read that book, people fucking somehow remember. They start remembering their past lives. I've had a lot of people tell me that. They start having dreams of their past life and they're like, what the hell? So, because of the way it's formatted. And that's not plugging my book. It's just saying it's very important to remember that your whole entire life isn't this incarnation with your twin. It isn't. It never was. And this illusion that this is it. And this is, again, the breakdown that Michael Singer talks about who are you? You know, maybe in this incarnation, your name is Mary. And the stripping away of this personality that you've taken on as your raison d'etre, your entire fucking reality is you as Mary or you as John, is an illusion. It's enjoy it. I enjoy my illusion. I mean, enjoy it. But understand it's an illusion of one incarnation that does not encompass all the incarnations you've had separate from your twin and with your twin. So when you remember those past lives, right? And you start kind of like spackling it together, you'll start realizing, oh shit, we had moments of joy and then it was gone. A sudden death, the plague, a fever, a drowning, a birth that went wrong. Do you understand? Dying of childbirth, things of that nature. The beginning of the movie, The Red Violin, starts out with a man who's creating something like Stradivariuses, which are some of the best violins on the planet. They're called Stradivariuses, if you don't know. And he is something of that level. He's a craftsman, right? His wife dies in childbirth. And he mixed her blood with the varnish. That's why it's called The Red Violin. And it's a story of that violin. It starts with an oracle saying, I see you traveling around the world. Yeah, her blood in the varnish of that violin. But the incredible way he loves her, like he can't fucking deal with her death. He can't. Childbirth. Maybe they had 6-7 years together. Maybe not even. Maybe just 2. If you start looking at movies and reading your fictional books with a more, transcendental eye, you'll start seeing perhaps reflections and flashes of your own reasons why your twin runs and you're in pain. And why does your twin run? Well, because your twin, in their soul's memory, failed you. Maybe they weren't able to help you, save you. Maybe this was unrequited love. It wasn't so much unrequited love. It was a love that was impossible. And one of the twins was so logical, so 3D, that was basically shutting you down. I'm getting an image of Versailles, the court of Versailles, where a merchant's daughter is in love with this young count and he can't love her. So instead of him showing her his love and his adoration, he's cold. He looks like he detests her. He doesn't detest her. He can't stop dreaming of her. But he gives her the cold shoulders to the point where she feels like he hates her. And she eats that up within her body. I'm watching her punching at her stomach, punching at her face, hating herself because I'm not pretty enough. But she doesn't understand. He can't love her. He's a count. She's a merchant's daughter. It's never going to happen. And these are the things that you guys need to start realizing what's happening here. So the soul of your twin, combined with the fuckery of the monkey mind, right? The false ego, is in cahoots and creating massive fear of, once again, I'm going to loop into failure and I'd rather not deal with that. So the level of self-loathing, the delusion of 3D thinking, the complete brainwashing of the infrastructure that demands this, that, or the other throughout these incarnations, which includes in this incarnation, by the way. I'm not a fan of this infrastructure at all. I think it's still creating separation. I remember this was probably 1983, when my high-level soulmate wouldn't ask me out for a date. We're talking about coffee here, until he had gotten his paycheck. He's crazy about me. I was crazy about him. Infrastructure, money, and systems of subtle fuckery that oppresses people's ability. And Twin Flame Universe and Netflix and Amazon Prime showing these two separate fucking shows, by the way, going on at the same time to create this descent among this fracture, so that your 3D twin would say, oh yeah, these soulmate connect. Yeah, that's a cult. That's crap. Yeah, that's crap. And denying it, saying it's crap. It's a lie. It's delusional new age bullshit. And yet then a year later asking, I don't understand, why am I still dreaming of you? Like, fuck, I see your name everywhere. And your name's Araceli. Not exactly a common name in my book. And I keep seeing, they can't. Because the whole point of this infrastructure is to make sure that the new age, by the way, has been bamboozled by charlatans and fuckheads that have made new age look like a joke, a cult. This is why, like 2 years ago, I made a massive distance between me and new age. Massive, massive. Because you've got the Aubrey Marcus walking and going, yeah, the new template of love is polyamory, and I'm going to impregnate these two bitches because they're on my payroll, because if I was broke, they wouldn't be with me. You know, what I'm trying to say to you is it's a system that continues its subtle slavery of twins being able to come together. And your average, and I'm just going to say, your average 3D twin is a masculine. There aren't that many women in that group, to be honest. Are there? Yes, I'm going to honor you guys in the Twin Flame community who are listening to me. Yes, I honor you, brother. Yes, I do. But you're about 20%, okay? The 80% of what's going on that I'm seeing personally is mostly women sitting in celibacy, gorgeous, fucking powerful, brilliant, weeping, watching their 3D male counterpart playing just self-destructive games. And denial in the 21st century, still playing out patterns, templates. Can you imagine being married in the 21st century and acting like it's 1930? That divorce is going to be problematic? It's 1930 or is it 2025? And it's because these things are still set in the soul. It's a samskar from that the soul carried over to the next incarnation. And the same game, the same template is being played out. And yet you and I know, you pack your shit and you go. Fuck Buddha did. He went, I love you, baby. I know we had a son. I got to figure out what the fuck reality is all about. And I got to go. Didn't Buddha do it? So I don't get it. Sometimes to actually come to a place of ascension, right? Of self-realization, you have to leave people, even though you love them, but you know it's done. You know the contract is done. Your soul knows it, but you're playing games with your bank accounts instead of actually really looking at the price of your souls, not just your soul, but the soul of the person whose contract with you is done. It's interesting, isn't it? And it's being fostered by the New Age community so that all of you think you're fucking crazy. It's called Twin Flame Universe. Does that make sense? So, did you get it? Twin Flame Universe. That's what it's called. In Netflix, I don't know. I never watched it, but I watched the Amazon Prime Twin Flame Universe. I watched it back to back. I didn't take a break except to pee, and that was it. I watched it back to back because I wanted to understand it. And it was fucked up. It was you'll see it. It was fucked up. And they're, by the way, they're making more money now. When I first watched it, to be part of their little gang, it was $2,000. I'll never I think it was 22. Swear to God, they were playing a little game. By the way, that's aid, that's karma on a side note. Now their highest level that you can go on, and they have tons of little underlings that work for them. They have tons of, it's a cult, okay? It's 8,900, something like that. It's their high, and they're clocking fucking buku bucks in the twin flame world. And then they have their little, we have put these two people in union. Watch the show and then ask yourself, how did that little testimonial come up? And see the bullying that happens in that show. And it's not one show, it's a series. I think it was like five, I think, if I'm correct, or four, whatever. The point is, it's more than two. And so you're going to see patterns of behavior and patterns of clear cult control. And I'm not here to talk massive shit about them. What I'm saying to you is, they use that worldwide to get the point across that twin flames are crazy. That's my point. It's the only reason why I keep bringing them up. That's my point. If that makes sense. So what about your nervous system being dysregulated when in separation? How do you fix that? You meditate. Well, that's what I've been saying. You meditate. If it's this concept that you have to have a nervous system that's always 100% fucking calm is insane to me, because it's never going to be. You're going to have moments where you are completely content, completely at peace. But this is something that you have to, do you realize that you have to like literally rewire your brain? You know, you have to like be honest. How were you raised? Were you raised with a pad whenever you cry? Because I see parents do it. I see it. So I'm thinking, if you're young, right? If you're in your 40s and 30s and 20s, whatever, that your parents were giving you an iPad, a tablet, a phone with a game, the minute you started fucking fidgeting or crying at the age of 1, 2, 3. Am I correct? And that's not how it works. That's not how the world works. The world isn't a massive iPad for you to fucking play with little apps. So yeah, I did in my earlier live, I called parents out. You can't do that. You sit in a cross-legged position if your kid's going fucking crazy, and you let them go crazy, and you say, I'm right here, baby, when you're ready. I'm right here. Mommy's here. And you have your arms open so they know, come to mommy when you're ready. Let me soothe you. It's okay to soothe. I'm not saying don't soothe, but don't use fucking electronical gadgets to soothe. And then you say to the child, it's okay. I know sometimes it's intense. These big, big emotions. I know these big, big feelings. And then you should teach them how to speak in metaphors. How does your heart feel right now? It feels like rain, or does it feel like the big sun, or does it feel like clouds, or how does it feel? And they learn how to express their feelings through metaphoric language. That should be taught. It's not. Now, so when you're an adult, to regulate yourself, and as a parent, as a good parent, in my opinion, you teach your children that to regulate themselves is through nature, in the ocean, swimming, walking in the woods, in the rain, in the sun, walking barefoot in the rain, in soil, sitting on the grass, hugging a tree, lying against a tree. There's so many ways. I could go on, but I think you're getting the picture. They connect their healing with nature. And it's scientifically proven that if you're going through depression, heart problems, high hypertension, 20% decrease in these issues when you connect with nature. So that's proven. It's not me saying it. It's not woohoo bullshit. It's real. So, but sometimes when you're going crazy with your twin flame separation, it's journaling, it's meditating, it's chanting, it's walking in the woods or the beach, wherever the hell you live. It's connecting, it's sobbing, it's allowing yourself to release, because you're not just releasing this incarnation, you're releasing everything. That's why it's so huge. You're not really releasing a lifetime, you're releasing multiple lifetimes. And this I know this. Okay, I know it like I know the past lives I had with my twin, and these were just a small. What the downloads I was getting from our past lives is probably 0.01% of what we actually experienced together. Okay, but I had a lot of them. So when you can't remember, right, because of amnesia, then how is it going to filter through? Well, it's going to filter through your body. It's going to rip through your soul, through your body, because your body's contained in this, your soul's contained in this body. That's why. And so read The Untethered Soul. We had it in our book club, what was it? 2 months ago, we read The Untethered Soul, and there's magic in these books. There's a reason why you read books like that. There's a reason why, like with The Untethered Soul, I read it at least 9 or 10 times. I read it on Audible, meaning I listened to it, and I read it with my twin. And I'm probably underestimating the amount of times I listened to it. I brainwash my brainwashing. I've done that with multiple important books. Like The Secret, I was telling a friend of mine that The Secret, I had it as a book, as a video, as a in those days CD. And when I slept, I would have it playing because I needed to brainwash the brainwashing. I was fully aware I was brainwashed. I was fully aware my depression was not based on reality, but on a certain system in place that made me feel incompetent in a planet that will make anyone with a fucking soul who's fully aware and empathic feel incompetent. Meaning it's all about money. It's all about what you look like. It's all about, and all of that is an illusion. And it's temporary. Money is not a problem, by the way. I'm not against money. Don't get me wrong. But when you have somebody who's got $500 million, whose their goal is to get another 500 million, their goal isn't to say, okay, I got 500 million bucks. Shit, with 50 million, I could change people's lives. Who needs water? Who needs shelter? Where can I go on the planet? It's not difficult. So I'm not putting money down. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm doing is letting you know that we have created a system for, this is not new. Women now are saying, I want my bag, but I didn't even know what the fuck it meant, but apparently means having your money. Women have always had to trade their bodies via marriage contracts or what have you to make sure that they weren't homeless. This is a reality people better so when people talk shit about women who marry and who have a prenuptial that's like extraordinary amounts of money and this and that and privilege, this is not new. No one invented this. This goes back thousands of years. This is not new. This is like 2,000 years. This is how people married. It was a contract. I love your ass, and if you divorce me, I'll give you this. But whatever. It's like men need to stop being angry. It's not new. No one invented this. This was how women fucking survived. Okay? And therein lies the problem. That's why I'm saying the infrastructure is corrupt and will corrupt twin flame union. This is why I was talking about Yeshua and Mary Magdalene as a template that's finally coming back online so that we can see what that looks like. The irony, though, of twin flame feminines who are in separation, I will tell you, they're not looking for money. In fact, some of them, I have a few clients who have been taken out on dates because they were really desperate to just move on, right? By very wealthy men, and they did not fucking keel. They did not fucking go for the okie doke. So women, I'm going to have to say that twin flame feminines who are truly twin flames, they're not looking for money. They're looking for the union, and they're never going to marry for money. Okay? They're not. If they're married already when they meet a twin flame and the man has money, I've seen those situations as well. If they stay, it's because of the children, because those kids are going to private schools and there are certain things that needs to continue happening and so on. And they're doing it. They're actually sacrificing their happiness so that their kids can get all the benefits that this society will not provide unless you have money. Let's be honest. So that's what's going on. But the pain is a process. It's just a process. Sorry about my cat. I've got a sudden craving for peach or apricot nectar juice when you mentioned nectar. Oh, that's wild. Good for you. So hopefully this'll help. I'm gonna upload this on my YouTube. I don't care about the money. I know none of my clients care about that. Not one of my clients wants the money. They don't care about the money. They can make their own money. What they care about is the healing. So when you're in separation, I'll leave you with this. When you're in separation, there are a couple things happening. One is you're not in your mission. Typically, you're not in your mission, and your twin is holding you back as a distraction. I'm just going to be straight up. And once you start going into your mission, if you're still in separation, or if there's a union that goes on for a weekend of wild sex, whatever, I keep telling my clients, please make sure they read at least the surrender. Like, you need to have the surrender experiment in their hands before they leave your side, because they might leave your side for another 9 months. We don't know, right? Okay, let me focus. Hang on. So when your twin returns, typically, okay, that's not for everyone, but typically there is progress going on in the way that they're dealing with, you know what I mean, with their with themselves. Okay, they're going through an ascension, because you're going through an ascension and yours is really busting out, and they're getting the benefits of your ascension light codes remotely, because you're tied, you're twins. Number one. Number two, they're blasted by your light. I'm being told to say that, and I don't mean to kiss your ass when I say that, but they're blasted by your light. It is so intense, and they feel so inept next to you, because now you're like rising into your, you know, you're glowing up, if you will, and they're overwhelmed. The nectar of your light is fantastic, but they're overwhelmed. So there could be a separation. In fact, the sex creates separation. Believe it or not, the sex is so fucking tantric and incredible, and I mean, it's amazing, right? There are no words for that. And the sex will make a runner. It will create a runner. I've said that before. Let me think. What else do I have to share? Oh, yeah. So when the twin is still, you know, refusing to move out of the 3D consciousness, right? Absolutely refuse. Like they're logical, they're 3D thinkers, they're cynical, you know, all the fun shit that's driving you crazy. If this continues and they refuse to wake up, they refuse to look at Dr. Joe Dispenza's neurological breakdowns of what happens to the brain when you fucking meditate, if they refuse to look at actually science, for Christ's sakes, and they refuse to change their patterns, the universe will fucking separate you again, because the universe's goal is to separate and to protect one twin to go into the mission, at least one. Now, quite often, twins aren't supposed to be in mission together, meaning, let me explain, not all twins do. Some twins, like I have a couple right now where the masculine is not stepping up in the way he needs to. Her goal and her mission is to work with women, and on various levels. I won't discuss it here. And he is supposed to work with broken masculines that are trapped by the template of Judeo-Christian religions. I'll just leave it at that, okay? And how it's fucked up a lot of masculines. I have at least 5 clients whose twin flame masculines are completely fucked up because of these fucking religions. I'm just going to say it like that. And it's not working. It's not, in other words, they're growing exponentially while the twin is holding on to the buoy of the 3D world. And it's not going to work, because there is only 2 things a feminine can do. Oh, sorry. One is that you regress as a twin flame feminine or masculine, depending on there's always one that's on a higher level of frequency. So you're either going to have to regress to be a match to the lower frequency. I'm just being honest. And I know you're not going to do that. I already know. Or your twin needs to rise out of the 3D mosh pit of bullshit into 4-5D awakening, right? And if your twin can't do that, if your twin insists on losing, and I'm going to call it straight out, you're losing, dude. I don't care if you're sitting on $100 million in your 3D world. If you're insisting on staying in that frequency, that is not a match. And you will be released from this, and you will be escorted into your mission as a divine high priest, high priestess. And that's the end of it. And the separation could take a long time. It could take 10 years. It could be like I've told the story of twin flames that came into union. For 2 months, they were happy as fuck. Everything was good. And he died in a car accident 2 months later. And clearly his life contract on this planet was complete, for real. I'm not trying to be like nonchalant. Just like what happened with me. My twin died last year. And he had to leave his body in the 3D world, though he was always in 4D, but there was certain things he still could not let go of, the patriarchy for one. And he moved, and he knew it actually. He realized that his body could not bring him to the next level of 4 5D ascension. It had to be out of his body, which it is. Him and I are in union on a different type of realities, okay? And I'm sharing that with you because it's important for you to know that by no means do I think that your pain during the dark night of the soul of separation is not incredibly dangerous and touchy. It's a touch and go. But and I'm a great example of that because he died and the dark night of the soul hurt me more than his death. That should tell you something. That should tell you how transcendental I had to become after the dark night of the soul. That when he died, I was so transcendental, I was in acceptance. I'm not saying it didn't hurt. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but it never fucking took me out like the dark night of the soul almost dead. That should give you an understanding of what I'm trying to share with you. That alone should give you a sense of how what you're going through is dangerous unless you do the right things, which is, again, working on chakras, meditations, working on your twins chakras if you want to. But you are not to ghost your twin. If your twin reaches out, you're not kissing ass. You are now the teacher. You have to teach. And and I've said this before, I've said in my last 2 lives, I'm getting very pissed off with these coaches, supposed coaches that know nothing clearly, telling you, yeah, ghost them. No, when your soul tells you to reach out, you reach out with knowledge. When the twin reaches out to you, that means the universe is saying, reach out to her or him. They have something to give you that can, give you a direction. I talk about this a lot. You are never to chase. You're never chasing. Teaching is not chasing. Teaching is teaching. And guiding is guiding. You're not begging them to be with you. You're not begging them to make love to you. You're not begging anything. You're just saying, this is, welcome back. How have you been? I've been, thinking about, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They might not even say they're thinking about you, but clearly they're thinking about you. And you can say, well, I've been reading this book and that book and the other book. And that is something that, you want to guide them to their own ascension journey. I mean, doesn't that make sense? Why would you not want them to ascend with you? So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about grounding my connection. I don't care about the money. What's the surrender experiment? I told my TF that all I want is your time. It's not about money. Yep. Do twins tend to sit and stay in their twin level because they'd rather be with them? I'm not sure about the question, Mama Yeti. Some twins on their twin flame level. I'm not sure what you mean. All I know is that twin flames, eventually you graduate. You can actually graduate. I've talked about it. If you look at my videos back in 2022 and 2023, you'll see that I talk about how twin flames can graduate into twin rays in the same incarnation. That it's no different than going from high school to college. I mean, that's basically it, but on a spiritual level. But in terms of what happens with the masculine, I'm going to address that. And you guys, I'm not talking about divine masculines. I'm talking about broken masculines. Toxic patriarchy and matriarchy, that toxic matriarchy supports it. Handmaid's Tale is a great example of where you see patriarchy in action with toxic matriarchy supporting it. Watch the movie, okay? And you'll see, I would never watch a show like that, but you'll see that women are supporting this bullshit, okay? So toxic patriarchy, one of the occurrences that happens is when men have been hurt. Maybe you're addicted. You're addicted to whatever, right? So you cheated or whatever, right? You wanted some attention, and or they have never dealt with their sexual abuse as a masculine, which is very hard for sacred masculines. It's hard for all masculines, but and whatever it is, the point is, you now are in a situation where you're in a relationship, remotely or not, where the twin really wants to, they're not even being honest with it. They want to lose. They want to lose. And they show themselves as wanting to lose by a few things. I'm going to be very blunt and don't get triggered. By being slovenly, by being lazy, by not taking care of themselves physically, by gaining weight or not going to the gym anymore, knowing that they need to be at the gym. Depression in masculines is a silent killer, but it shows itself in multiple ways. Porn addiction, other addictions. And they know that they're unhappy, but they are content in this unhappiness. It's become their personality, okay? And so when you go to the twin masculine and you say, look, get off your ass, let's go to the gym, let's read this book. I don't want to read this book. I don't have time. What do you mean you don't have time? You have time for football, you have time for this, you have time for that, but you don't have time for something that actually can wake your brain up and bring you serotonin levels of fucking wisdoms that can actually grow you, and you can actually become the man you want to be. Can we deconstruct what you think a man is supposed to be in the 21st century? Can we talk about why we can't tantrically connect with each other? Why you just want to fuck and not make love? In other words, why you don't even want to be with me in the shower? Why you don't want me to let you massage your body because you literally don't want to be vulnerable with me, but yet you resent me, but yet you won't leave me, but yet you won't even... Do you understand? There are men out there right now that are hell-bent on losing. The self-loathing is so intense that they'll take you down with them. And that's when you need to pack your shit. At the age of 21, I first heard the concept of women who left the love of their lives. Did you hear what I said? The love of their life. They left them. They would pack their shit and go and say, I am leaving the only man I will ever love. And some of them would marry men that they didn't give a fuck about, but at least had money. I'm just being very blunt. This is what I've seen as a very young woman. They'd fuck maybe once a week. The sex was pedestrian at best, but at least she got 2 vacations a year. I've seen it. And what happens when a twin flame gives up? He destroys her remotely. She will never be the same unless she comes into high priestess. In the 80s and 90s, women didn't know this. There was none of this. High priest, goddess energy, none of that was happening. It was just new age, reincarnation, Louise Hay. That was the world. And I saw women completely get destroyed in apathy, feeling nothing. In fact, not wanting to feel a damn thing. And waiting for that man to maybe one day wake up, and he never did, because he'd go deeper and deeper in his own bullshit, his own caveman. I want nothing to do with the world. And it's like, dude, hang on, straight up. You're alive on this planet. Get shit done. Get shit done with the love of your life. Fucking do shit in the planet. Make it better than it ever was. I don't care if it's in your little village, the land you bought. Make shit happen and make sure that what you do touches people in a positive way, and make sure you touch as many people as you can before you take your last breath. That is the responsibility of a divine feminine and masculine. But the problem with the twin flame masculine who is hell-bent on losing, I'm just going to call it out. Some of these guys just want to lose. They want to be in their apathy of self-delusional self-pity and go into complete withdrawal. So what kicks them out of it? It's one step at a time. It's saying, this has been my habit in the last year or 2 or 3. And I think I'm going to just take a walk for a half hour every day. I'm going to start with I swear to God, moving the body shifts the mind. Breaking habits of self-destructive behavior shifts the brains. And listening to things that you've never listened before. You know, instead of having your fucking football game or whatever the hell you're watching on TV, putting kaleidoscope high frequency music. It's literally on purpose taking your life by the hand and saying, I will take care of you. Because if you don't, you're just wasting your time. You're wasting your time. And when you die, my little divine masculine who's decided to lose, when you die, you will sit across your guide who will show you all the paths you could have taken through the Akashic library of your particular incarnation as Jim or John or Billy or whatever your name is. And you will fucking sit there and sob with regret. And that's not the wrath of God. This is not honestly, who gives a fuck? If that's what you want to do it. No one's going to punish you. No one's going to punish you except for yourself. You're going to sit in front of your guide saying, these are all, there'll be no judgment. They're not going to say you fucked up, by the way. You'll say you fucked up. They're not going to say anything to harm you, to shame you, or to make, or belittle you. They're just going to show you what could have been. Kind of like, Ebenezer Scrooge in the Christmas Carol. What could have been. What was. What could have been. And you're going to sit there going, fuck. You mean I could have changed 100 people's lives? Well, it was a possibility. That's not to scare you. Go ahead, fuck your life up. I don't care. I don't care, actually. I don't know you. I don't care. You do whatever the hell you want. Be happy in your apathy. If that makes you happy, which I doubt, but let's just assume that you're very happy being in an apathetic state of catatonic behavior, then go ahead. Enjoy. Meanwhile, your twin, the divine feminine, and I'm going to also add the divine masculine, who also has a feminine, that's catatonic, self-destructive. You're going to fucking do your mission. And when you die, and you're in a 5D consciousness, and you look at what could have been, you will weep as well that your twin didn't fucking step up. But you also will be in a position where you can help your twin remotely in 5D consciousness. If you decide to wait for your twin and do nothing, because you will say to yourself, I can't do my mission unless my twin's with me. If that's in your consciousness, you're fucking up. Massively. And you also will die and go meet with your guide, and they'll say, you mean I could have helped 1,000 people? Yeah. 1,000 people would have, and that translates to 1 million people. Teachings are taught, the baton is passed, the torch is lit, generation after generation. We are that important. And the sad part is, there are power couples that will never be in their power in union because they have been taught, they have been trained, they have been beaten down, and they have finally accepted that they are nothing and that they are worth nothing, and hence whatever they do or don't do doesn't matter. Great training. It works. That's why twin flame universe is dangerous. Because they're promoting a cult mentality. And you guys need to sit in your own shit and say, is this what I'm feeling for this human being real, or am I delusional? Be honest. Well, I've never felt that way before. How many people have you been with? 2. How many, how old are you? I'm 21. Yeah, you're just starting your incarnation. Let's stop. Okay, let's stop. You're going to meet a lot of soulmates. You're going to have soulmate lovers that feel good and feel amazing until you meet another one and you go, wow, that was a lot better than that one. And then eventually you'll meet your twin flame. Everyone's story is different. Sometimes you meet them as you start your life like I did. And then you move on into other lovers to contrast, I'm being serious with you. And some of you will meet your twin later on in life. Everyone's different. There's no recipe that, confirms or denies what you're feeling. But you have to sit and go, what is this? Is this real? If it's real, okay, so what do I do with this reality? And how do I make myself understand that my value on this planet is invaluable? It can't be quantified. I am not a chip bond that's worth $1 billion. I am worth everything. I am worth fucking generations of knowledge. And that's not arrogance. That's self-worth. There are things, especially in the Mormon community, there are a lot of people that are coming out of the Mormon community. You'll see a lot of people on TikTok. You'll see a lot of men coming out of the Mormon community, a lot of other cultish, weird-ass fucking religious cults. And Psalm Isadora was one of them. Her name was Psalm Isadora. Great example of one. Tragic life. Amazing woman. But she was being molested by her own father and eventually broke away from that bullshit. You've got Teal Swan, another cultish figure that broke away, but she's still doing her fucking work, man. Divorcing men left and right, can't seem to have relationships because of the foundational beginnings of how these women, Isadora, by the way, committed suicide. But what I'm saying to you is that we need to be a stronger community of ancient wisdom keepers so that we can actually help prevent any more losses through self-harm. And you, my friend, are very important. So back to the Mormon community, people coming out of that, they have a lot of trauma. They have a lot of brainwashing. They have a lot of things they have to deconstruct. A lot. And it feels like it'll never happen. And yet, if more of us are becoming bolder and stronger in communities, we can help these men and women come out of all kinds of various nuanced brainwashing that began in their very infancy, right? So that's where you're all coming from. I don't know shit about the Mormon community. I don't know what to deconstruct, how to. I can give people certain processes, but I can tell you some of you are experts. He said he no longer feels at home in his home with where he's been for years, and this is real. You can do all this, yeah. We divine feminine are so loving. We just need to rise and know our worth. Yeah, well, I mean, at some point, it's not knowing your worth. It's walking in your worth. Meaning, you don't care anymore if you're gonna fuck up. And one of the quick things that I was able to master, just to let you know, was one day I came to the realization. I think I was like 30 in my 30s. I came to the realization that I was a conduit. I was a conduit. I was not the voice that spoke. I was being divinely guided by Archangel Michael, various other beautiful light beings who were messengers of the one of 1,000 names. And so once I realized that, it wasn't that I wasn't responsible. It was that I realized I was being divinely guided as to what to say, what to write, what to do. You know what I mean? And I didn't need self-worth. Trust me. Because there was, in other words, self-worth didn't come into it, to be honest. It didn't come into it at all. I just realized I went through the back door of fucking wisdom and said, wait, hang on. I'm a conduit. Doesn't matter how I feel about myself. Fuck that. Let me go ahead and do my mission. Self-worth or not. So if you're waiting for self-worth, good luck. You'll be waiting for a while. But if you are, actually just doing the work, eventually self-worth will creep from behind you and you'll be shocked going, wait, hang on. I really respect that about me. So it'll come in little beautiful doses of self-love that isn't something you have to fucking work for and fight for. It just will come, you know? And you'll be in gratitude, and you'll say in your humility, and you'll go from there. And you'll forgive yourself for, like, I have an incredible, intense passion for a lot of things. And I'm just not going to apologize for it. If people are uncomfortable with my passions and the way I express my passions, whether it's booming my voice or whatever, oh, you sound like a man. It's like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Goodbye. Keep scrolling. I don't give a shit. So you start realizing that you will not allow anyone to edit you, but you will take good counsel, and you will sit with that information and ask yourself and your guides if this is true for you and if this is good for you, and so on. So ultimately, your self-worth will come, trust me, but you need to just do your mission. We have to trust the little voice that tells us, shows us things to do and paths to take. Exactly. So that's what you have to do. Because, if you're waiting for self-worth, good luck. Let me know how that works. You'll be in your fucking 60s. You know what I mean? And you'll finally, I'm ready to now speak. I'm ready to now say things. I'm ready to now motivate people, right? I'm ready to speak my journey. I hear, and the self-worth creeps up going, not me. Oh, well, that's not you. Every single human being on this planet has the ability to actually be, let me back up. Whenever people say not me, I say to myself, this is interesting. You had people like Napoleon and Hitler and General Patton, and then you had Joan of Arc. I just gave you examples of people who were warmongering or warriors. Okay, and then I gave you a woman like Joan of Arc, a Mother Mary, who actually, in my opinion, existed. Okay, Eleanor of Aquitaine. I talk about her all the time. I have amazing fucking respect. I used to read every book I could get my hands on Cleopatra. Okay? And I learned the wiles and the wildness of women through these ancient queens. So when you say, why not me? I'm thinking of Alice Walker, who was born as an African-American woman in a time when she lived Jim Crow. And she was writing, one of the books my French mother gave me was Possessing the Secret of Joy by Alice Walker, about female circumcision. She changed my life. She changed my art. I was fascinated by this and repulsed, of course, by this weird fucking brutality. This is why I have a problem when women go, oh, women would be better leaders. It's women that performs female circumcisions on little children. I actually saw a 45-minute video on them, my woman studies, on an actual female circumcision on an 8-year-old. I saw it. It went on for 45 minutes. Held down by women, done by a woman. She was crying for her father. So I don't want to hear women go, oh, women. No, it's fucking human beings. We are human beings, and some are toxic as fuck. A lot of human beings are toxic. It's not a gender thing. It's an integrity thing. It's a soul thing. So that changed my world. My mother gave it to me. I was like 30. I never heard of female circumcision. Alice Walker. How many people have read Alice Walker? Seriously. How many? Really? How many do you know have read her books? Besides The Color Purple, That's my point. So when you say not me and I'm not important, very important. Then I came across a woman who was a model at YSL. She'd been circumcised. She was a Somali woman. Her father was an ambassador. Her mother was a fucking psychologist in Paris. And her mother, at the age of 9 years old, told her, we're going to go see a movie. And it turned out it was a female circumcision thing. And she had to have, a reconstructive surgery. She fell in love with a Frenchman, had children with him. And at the age of 47, on her birthday, she was murdered. I'm just going to say it. And why? Because it was her birthday and she disappeared for 2 weeks and they found her in the Seine River 2 weeks later. And I read the story and I did a lino cut called Katusha. That was her name, Katusha 47. Don't tell me, not me. Not me. Every single fucking story I've ever heard about, every single thing was a human being out there that never knew. I found out about them after they were dead. I found out about them when they were alive. Every human has a story. I follow 10,000 people. I have no respect for content creators who don't follow. You know, when they put the little zero, you're that great that there's no one else's story you want to hear. You're so important that there's no one you want to hear. I told my son, he was shocked. 10,000. There are 10,000. If I could follow 20,000, I would. Why? Because every fucking story is amazing. So don't tell me, not me. Don't fucking say that. Don't tell yourself that, not me. Yeah, fucking you. Tell your fucking story. I mean, it's incredible, the stories out there. Amazing. From, riding horseback in the Sahara Desert to an old woman teaching me how to make fucking sourdough bread in her little garden. And she's in England somewhere. She'll never know I'm alive, but I know she's alive. She's influencing me. Influences isn't 1.5 million people. That's not an influence. An influencer is every human being on this planet can influence the way you think about anything. About ants, about bees, about wolves, about horses, about your own self-worth, about your own body image, about love. We all have stories to tell. And we're not valuing that. And honestly, go ahead, fill up your fucking follows to 10,000. Trust me, you won't be bored. When I put, in my little TikTok thing, follow, to see videos of my people I'm following, there are people in Gaza showing, there's a woman I follow who does her laundry in Gaza while she's trying to get likes and gifts. I send her gifts, right? If you send me gifts, I'll probably give it to them because because I've been doing that. So that they can fucking eat. And she's doing her laundry, doing fucking heart signs with her hands. And I'm like in awe of her because her face looks like peace. She's going through something most of us could never fathom. You want to talk about getting your nervous system correct? You should watch the people in Palestine who are doing live. Some of them, their faces are there's no Botox going on here, my friends. Their faces and their skin look gorgeous. They're glowing. There's a sense of peace in the midst of fucking hell. They're teaching me how to get my nervous system in check. Does that make sense? So you can learn from everyone. I'm following people in Africa who are African. There's a Ugandan model who's from Uganda. She showed me how she took cow dung and redid her floor. She's rich, by the way, just so you know. She's not poor. Not that it matters. But anyway, she was with her hands with cow dung. And she said it's actually antiseptic. Rattlesnakes and other poisonous snakes and spiders will not come on her floor. When I build a cob house, should that ever happen, I'll know to use cow dung and that it will more likely be a good thing mixed with a little bit of straw for my floors. I'm not being funny, actually, though I'm joking. I've learned so much from people. And so it's just a matter of you. It's not about your worthiness. Just tell your story. Right? Thank you for saying absolutely. Crystal, I appreciate that because I hear yeah. So does that make sense? So that's what I want to leave you with. Okay. Well, anyway, so I'm glad you were here. Knowing your self-worth won't let you take any BS and set boundaries where it's needed. You don't need to have self-worth to do that. I've been doing that since I was 17 and I had no self-worth. So that's not me having boundaries. I had absolutely no self-worth, but I didn't take bullshit. So explain that to me. I'm only pushing back because I want you to understand. Self-worth does not equate boundaries. I was giving people boundaries and putting foot to ass at 17 and I had zero self-worth. So now what? Does that make sense? So how do you make sense of that? I can't make sense of that. Where did I get that? I didn't want people to fuck me over. It's that simple. I mean, it was but was it self-worth? No, because I was dealing with all kinds of things teenage girls deal with. I was 17. I didn't have self-worth in terms of that. I just didn't want to be raped. I didn't want to be fucked with. I didn't want to be fucked with. So I would put foot to ass. If I wanted something, I said so. If I didn't want it, I said so, and loudly. But I didn't have self-worth, so I'm not sure where that comes from. What it is you need to just know what you want and what you refuse to accept. That's all. And is that self-worth? I don't think so. My self-worth now means that I will not tolerate fucked up friendships. How's that? That's self-worth. That's me saying, yeah, I don't want to invest any more time on this. This is stupid. And or my self-worth is also telling, like I had a friend who, well, she was kind of a friend, who called me a year after her bullshit. And I said this before, and she said, blah, blah, blah. And I went, look, I can't offer you friendship. I'm really sorry, but I wish you the best. And she said, well, thank you. We had a little chat, but it was best. She said, well, it's better than ghosting. I go, I would never ghost anyone. That's self-worth. Self-worth is having the honor not to ghost someone. That's self-worth. I don't ghost anyone. I'll tell you, you're fucking up. I'll try to tell you, you'll keep ghosting me. I'll try to tell you again, hey, let's talk. Then at that point, you're blocked. I'm done with you. Because if you don't have the balls to talk to me and not to yell, just to talk, to say what went wrong, why, and great, our contract is done. That is self-worth, and it's self-respect. Okay, that's part of it. There's multiple parts. Absolutely spot on, sister. So it's different, you know what I mean? And with self-worth, thank you, Andromeda, speaking of which, with one of your very, very good friends, you check in with them and saying, how am I doing as a friend? Am I showing up for you? That's self-worth, and it's also self-respect, and it's also taking a lot of time with your friend to make sure that they are okay. You check in with them, you take a pulse of the relationship, and that is self-worth. And it's also saying, these are my concerns. This is what, you know. And so I think women need and men need to do that with each other. They need to check in. Hey, dude, how you doing, buddy? Listen, am I giving you what you need in this friendship? You know, and can I do better? How can I do better? Right? Much love. So to me, it's a lot. It's a lot of things. Anyway, I want to thank you all. I'm going to go. It's about 1:13 p.m. And I want to thank you all for being here. I will put this on TikTok. If you want to join our Patreon, follow me on Patreon. There's a free aspect to it where only certain videos I only allow for Patreon members, you know. To be honest with you, I think I'm going to make this video where you have to be a Patreon member if you want to listen to it. And it'll be free. You can be a free Patreon member. But there's a particular one where if you pay $9.99 a month, you can be part of our Twin Flame Ascension support group, which starts on September 6th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's the first Saturday of September. And we will meet every Saturday. And you can try it out for a month, see what you think, and if it doesn't work for you, you can move on. I'm still thinking about whether or not we'll record those sessions, and if you do, I think I would probably send them personally to each person, you know, a link or whatever. We'll see. I'll figure it out. All right, any other questions? Oh, thank you, Gail. That's very sweet. And thank you, Andromeda Flame, for being here. Metaphysical Mama, very cool. Expansive Being Tarot, awesome. Thank you all. I wish I could name you all. I feel like Romper Room. It's good to see you all. And I appreciate you as well, Crystal. Thank you for all your questions, for your support. Thank you. I love what you said about saying what we're wrong here. Absolutely. It's very important, even if you can't. Like there's certain contracts that are done. It's okay. It's not a reflection of either in friendships or lovers. But it is checking in. Ghosting is a cowardly game. If you look it up in the you can Google it. Ghosting is the most abusive thing a human being can do. And if you're on the ascension journey, and you are for real, then you know that to do no harm is the only law that you need to actually uphold within yourself as an honorable human being, as a multi-dimensional light being. So that means that if you know ghosting, blocking is harmful, you don't do that. You face it. You say, hey, you fucked up. Well, how did I fuck up? Look, I don't want you to be defensive. Let me tell you what you said and what you did that I'm being triggered, but I'm trying. You listen, I really care about you, and I want us to figure this out. And at the end of the conversation, it could be that you get ahead. Oh my God, the soul contract. Oh, we're done here. Holy shit. And you respectfully and lovingly release them back into the ocean of the planet. You go, enjoy. I mean, it was good while it lasted, but now I can't do this. I agree. We're much better face. Gail, black magic is not being done on your TF and Gail, unless you're incredibly, I'm going to be blunt, okay? Unless you're incredibly powerful, okay? Incredibly powerful, like to the level of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, it's not black magic. I just did a whole live explaining what this is, and you'll understand. So you may want to join my Patreon, and then you'll have access to the link. Okay? All right? It's not black magic. Please don't buy fucking $100 calendars. Don't fucking hire someone for $500 to kill a chicken, to do a ritual, to fucking help you with this supposed black magic. Please don't do that. Just, go to someone like me, seriously, or someone else, but like me, that's not going to fucking hustle you for thousands of dollars on bullshit. Okay? All right. Sending you much love on your journey.